Hey, Gina Minyard here. This sequence is called Get Expansive. We're going to do side body stretches, quad and hip flexor stretches, and some shoulder back bend work to open up a bigger expansive feeling inside. So we'll actually start standing. I want you to, if you have a block, take it and place it between your shins on that medium side, a few inches below your knees. And give it a good squeeze once you get there. Settle into your feet, but squeeze the block, keeping thighs back, abdomen strong. And you might feel just by squeezing the block there starts to be more of an inner lift. So bring your hands, go with that, bring your hands to the low ribs, fingers front, elbows back, and start to breathe space into your ribs. Try to breathe into the thumbs, try to breathe your ribs wide. Press the ribs out into your hands from the expansive inner breath. And even start to lift your ribs out of your hips. Meanwhile, as if you had an extra pair of hands, bring your hands to your pelvis and push down. Really feel that groundedness, but then yes, still hands on your hips, or ribs rather, lifting you up so you get that space. So then bring your right hand to your right hip. Start to shift sideways, that left hand still in the ribs here. Breathe the ribs wide and use that hand to help lift up. So this hand's pushing down sideways, and this hand is helping you to lift a little more space up through the side. Go a little higher, breathe wider, lift a little more, and go sideways with that. One more time, breathe wide, lifting a little higher up if you can. So throat back, arm bone back, and then you can even stretch that arm overhead. Big, huge side body stretch. Breathing into it. And then he'll come back up and lower back down. I bet you feel, you might feel already more expansive just with that, on that left side. So, hands on hips, and just bring your right hand to your ribs. You're breathing wide, and you can use that left hand hip to help push down. Shift the hips to the sides, narrow through the center. As you breathe the ribs wide, lift the ribcage a little higher. And bend a little deeper. 2 more times, hands a little higher, breathe wider. Bend a little deeper. 1 more time here. Lift the ribs, go sideways, keep the throat back, arm bone back. And stretch that arm past the ear. Pressing into your feet, lengthening your spine, lengthening 2 directions. Open up to the expansive stretch through your sides with your breath. And inhale back up. Lower that arm down. And again, just take a breath. You can keep the block where it is. And here we'll start to sit back into the hips. And here with the hands, bring hands to hips, but turn your fingers up, and as best you can try to get them behind your hips. Then do a little more to the side of the hips, that's fine. But behind your hips, fingers pointed up. Now tone your center, use strong legs to sit back into your hips, and try to push down against your hips to lift your chest. You're getting a couple things here, a little stretch in your wrists, and also as you sit back into the hips, toning the center. Lift, again through the side bodies, you're stretched out, heads and arm bones back, and lift your chest. Notice what's happening in your throat here, so we don't want to just throw the head way back, lift the chin way up. That's not really a lift, that's just a bend at your neck. So keep your chin a little bit down, your throat back, and lift your chest up towards your chin. So yes, get some good opening there. So stand up slowly, that's it, arms by your sides. All right, remove that block and take a wide stance. Maybe not as wide as absolutely possible, but towards that, sort of maybe a little less wide than your wrists. And turn your toes, your knees out. And take your arms out into a T shape here, goddess squat. So draw strength from feet to hips, move those inner thighs back, tighten the core. The more you sit back and lift your chest, it becomes a little bit more of a back bend, right? So tone though, brace front to back, elongate your spine, and then notice the shoulders here. From your shoulder blades, turn your biceps, your palms up. So you're strong from hands to shoulders like gloves, and turn biceps, shoulders up. And then stretch the arms slowly overhead as you sit a little deeper. And lift your chest a little higher. And then here, straighten the legs a little bit, come back to just arms straight up by your side. So one more time, from strong shoulder blades, rotate biceps, palms up, and then sit a little deeper again as you reach those arms overhead. Reach through your spine, lengthen through. And with an inhale, straighten those legs, turn your feet and knees straight ahead, maybe go a little wider. And with your exhale, you can tip slowly forward from your hips, hands under the shoulders to start, but then you can walk through, maybe keep your knees bent to help you fold forward more. Or just as you can, stretch the legs stronger and straighter. So breathe in here, breathe in, breathe out. So from here, arch up to halfway and pivot into a right leading lunge. All right, so come around, maybe adjust your stance a little wider as needed, front to back. Again, on lunge, you want that front foot to be up between the hands there, back leg long and straight. So we're going to twist and add a couple things here. So left hand under the shoulder, right hand under your knee, put that left hand down flat. We are going to twist, but I want you to look at your left hand, move it up just a little further than the shoulder, and like you just practiced, press the inner edge of the hand down, and you rotate your bicep more forward so that shoulder blade comes more into the back. That shoulder likes to drop forward this way, so rotate it out. Put your ribs in, turn at your waist, and then stretch that top arm up. Keep your back leg strong, bend a little deeper into your front knee. Then here we'll start to carefully pivot both feet to the right. So you can bring the hand to the hip here. And with that, you can walk your right foot halfway down the mat. So the foot can hang off the mat a little bit. Start the strong edge of this bottom foot, like in a half stance here. Pressing the inner edge of the hand of that left hand down, turn again that shoulder blade deeper into the ribs. So we'll come back to this here. So here's what's next. You're going to lower, carefully, mindful of that shoulder, lower your hip to the floor. And then if you need to move that hand out a little further, no worries. So you're still sharp on the edge of that foot. Push your pelvis a little more forward. This gives you a stretch through this whole left side waist again. And then pull your abdomen back. Stretch it out here a little bit more. You can rock forward and back a little bit. If the shoulder feels tight, just again turn it more open so it's more aligned. All right. So then from here, we're going to come back up the way we came. Use your legs. You can push down that bottom hand if you need to. But coming up, that hand still a little bit in front of the shoulder. Stretch overhead, but now stretch even past the ear. You can lift your hips a little higher to kind of arc your way into it more. And from there, touch back, touch down, and into a downward facing dog. All right, we'll get to the other side of this. Tip your tiptoe forward, and then step your right foot back into a lunge. So starting that on the other side. So again, that left foot between the hands, right hand under the shoulder. Move the hand up a couple inches in front of the shoulder. Press the inner edge of the hand down. Turn that shoulder blade more into the heart. Right, so that rotation forward. If you look down your bicep muscle, elbow crease more forward. Press that inner edge of the hand down. And twist open. Bring that outer left hip in, bend deeper to the knee. Get that length through the side, strong core. Then pivot around like we did. You come to the side of that back foot, walk that bottom foot around. Right, so you're about halfway down the mat. Strong in both feet, not collapsing down here, or you're lifting up. And we're going to lower down, so go ahead and lower carefully. Mind that bottom shoulder, be careful with that. You need to move it up a little bit, fine. And then here, you can have hand on knee, hand on hip. If that leg's strong and straight, you'll stretch to the side of the hip and the side of the waist there. Pull your abdomen back, you can rock forward and back a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay. From there, we're going to lift back up. So you need help with that front hand, go for it. Otherwise, just squeeze your way back up. Make sure that hand is steady, shoulder blade strong. Left arm overhead, but then stretching past your ear. Big side body stretch, turn more up to the sky. Take a big breath. And touch it down from there. Downward facing dog. And then from down dog, just slide your right knee towards your right wrist. This is a version of pigeon pose. A little more into this hip flexors and quads. Notice here, I'm not going way out wide for a hip stretch. I'm keeping it close. That right foot pointing straight back. On the top of the foot, strong at the ankle in the same way. Underneath just the front of that left hip. And like a cobra pose, right? Stretch that back leg long. Tone your core in and up. And you can lean forward as much as you need to here, or you can lift up a little higher. Ground through your legs. Stretching up through the core. Breathing in, breathing out. So, adding to this, you could scoot in a little bit. Move the right hand to the center of your mat. Bend the back leg in, squeezing hip and heel together. And so that means you lift your pelvis up towards the heel. You can kick the foot into the hand. Tone your core in and up. Options, if that's like too much for you, lean over to the right. You can do kind of like a similar elbow on the floor, side plank shape, and just squeeze heel to hip. Or if you're good here and you want to add more, you can lift up higher, so lower your hand over the foot. So it's kind of like moving the hand behind your hip, right? And lift your chest. Keep your chin tucked, but lift your chest higher. Okay, release. Downward facing dog. And just slide that left knee forward carefully for the second side. So left knee towards left wrist. And you're on the top of the foot, pointing straight back, parked right underneath that right hip, strong at the edge of the foot. And shifting your hips back and down with that. And the lift of your core. So you're still strong for feet to hips as always. Toning your abdomen, lifting your chest as much as that feels good to you. Stay grounded, strong in the legs as you lift up. All right. So then that left hand to the center. And you can scoot in closer if you need to. You reach back and take that foot. Try to join hip and heel together by lifting your hip towards the heel. As much as you press heel to hip. Working the edge of the feet. Remember your option is to lean all the way over to the left and just line up the body there from your thigh through your spine. Or at the top, you can swivel the hand over the foot perhaps and lift a little higher. Pushing down into that foot, lifting your chest more. Breathing in, breathing out. All right, carefully release and into downward facing dog. And so from there, coming down through into a table pose and kneeling, standing on your knees. So you could put something soft under your knees if that needs a little extra cushioning. And we'll try our first camel pose. So you can bring your hands behind your hips. For this first one, tuck your toes under. Get a little squeeze in at the shins. And just keeping hands on hips there. So draw strength at the legs, thighs back. And as you tone your core, firm those hips. Press them a little more forward. Just not a strong tailbone tap that kind of blocks the flow of your back bend. But keep the thighs back and tone the core and the glutes. So like we did before, get hands behind the hips and lift your chest. Nice side body's long, heads and arm bones back. And that's what's happening in the neck here. So if you drop the head back, it collapses you instead of expands you. So keep your chin tucked, lift your chest towards your chin, and start to curl back more. Maybe stay here, or you can bring your hands carefully back and towards a camel pose. If you want to point your toes back, that's fine. Keep legs strong, keep your chin tucked. Lift, lift, lift your chest. So you tone your abs and your glutes to support. All right, come up slowly from there. Point your toes back and sit your hips to your heels. Take a breath. So then, we'll build on that and we'll move into a wild thing, which is really a version of a back bend built on side plank. I like to come into it from down dog. I'll talk you through. Of course, you could watch it and then rewind it and try it together, right? This pose has a lot of things going on. So we'll start on the left hand, and then on the edge of the left foot. A lot of things going on, but you practice a lot of these things. So you can step your right foot a little bit behind you before we had it in front. You can always go back to what we did before. And make your legs strong and lift your hips up. And your side body's nice and long. And this bottom arm is so important. Press the inner edge of the hand down. We'll loop that shoulder blade into the back of the heart. Keep your abdomen strong, but lift your hips higher. Notice what's happening in this shoulder is going from being towards the side towards reaching overhead like you're practicing goddess pose. So turn that shoulder blade tip into the heart. And that top arm as well. Rotate that bicep towards the ear. And then lift your chest like your camel pose. Opening up. And come back down, downward facing dog. So just careful not just sort of kind of flip over and flop back, really keeping all those steady places supporting you. So then, second side, so that right hand a little forward as you pivot around. The right hand a little in front of the shoulder. Press the inner edge of the hand down, turn that shoulder blade tip into the heart strongly, keep those ribs strong. And then use that, even that back leg on the ball of the foot, lift your hips up. And turning into the heart there, keeping your chin a little tucked even as you open up. Notice how the arms are rotating here. Closer to the ears, both arms. And that's maybe a little higher, a little more of an arc through the pose, not just sort of laying back flat. Feel the expansion there. All right. Come on down, downward facing dog. And again, you may want to watch that sequence first, and then you can come back and try it again. You can rewind it. Okay, so come down to table pose and one more camel pose. So that means stand on your knees. You can have toes tucked under. You can point your toes back as an option for another way to do it. That's a little more challenging. Harder to reach your heels. It's your choice. So either way, make the legs strong from feet to hips. Pull into your center. Remember how we grounded our hips and legs and brought that expansive space up through the sides. Do that again here. Narrow the center, the curling, and hands on hips to help lift your chest, chin and chest tucked. right? So chin tuck to chest. So you lift the chest to meet the chin. So just dropping your head back, breaking the neck. Literally breaking the neck, not literally, but breaking that connection. Just keep it connected. Find that expansive lift. Again, staying here, or if you want to reach back and find your feet, press your strong glutes forward. Keep that lift and that length all the way through. Even here, notice I'm keeping my chin tucked. I'm not just dropping my head way back. I'm reaching through my neck, opening up as I lift my chest. All right, inhale, come back up. If you can't not drop your head back, just keep it tucked the whole time. Totally fine to do that. Point your toes back, sit back on your heels. Feel that expansion. Just like the way the space of the heart and the lungs so open. That's a physical space. It's also this energetic space of breath. So feel that expansion. So good. One more downward facing dog. Stretch it back. Two more breaths. Lengthen use this to lengthen out your spine. So really try to get a neutral spine. Maybe you have to bend your knees to get enough lift in your sit bones. Keep your abdomen strong. Stretch it long. Child's pose. Toes touching, knees apart, hips to heels. Tone your core in and up. Ground your hips back and down. Maybe a support under your head, folded arms, or a block. Just make this really heavy and deep. So then help yourself up through a table pose and take a seat. We're going to do a sitting forward fold. So if you're tight on the backs of the legs, you want to take a blanket under your hips, maybe even like 2 blankets, right? You want to sit up high enough to where you can get the pelvis to tip all the way forward. So the low back curves in like this, okay? The right leg's going to stay forward. Bend your left leg in and open that knee out to the side. So stay on your blanket. You may have to turn it more at an angle here. I'm going to move it out of the way for my needs. But take the knee wide, turn those inner thighs down, back and apart. If possible, that heel's close to the hip, or it's wider, it's fine as well. But try to keep those hips level. Draw strength up the legs. Turn your belly and chest to the right. So even though we're sitting on the floor, you want to be strong in the connection from feet to hips. Turning in the middle, so you're going to have your fingertips on the floor and just twist. This can be just a vertical spine, twisting the back around from left to right. Holding strong here. In a second, we're going to push that right thigh down, push forward through that foot. Some of you will just stay here and work this upright twist. Second stage, to tip from your hips and fold forward, even as you keep all of that happening. I like to put the hand on the outside of the foot or the shin because it helps to keep that sense of almost like pulling myself across more. This right hand like a kickstand. Press that right thigh down, low back in, belly in, turning at the center and lengthen. Reach the head towards the foot, not to the side. Right? Elongate. Back up with your inhale, nice and slow. Pause at the top. Different kind of expansion, more inward with that one. All right, bring that left leg up and forward. Second side. Bring that right leg in. Open it out to the side. Again, please sit on a blanket if you need extra height under your hips. If you're kind of falling backwards like this, make sure you're sitting high enough. So turn the inner thighs down, sit bones back and apart. Even as you're sitting, strong legs to support that low back curve, breathing through the sides. Tone your abdomen, especially on that left side, but turn more to the left. Press the left thigh down, push out through that foot. And lift through the spine of the inhale. Maybe you're holding here and just working into that twist, strong legs. Or you can fold forward and hand on the outer shin, outer foot. That left hand like a little kickstand, so you stay long in that left side body. Stay expansive on that side, not dropping over this way, right? So try to square your chest over the front leg and then elongate from there. Breathing into it. Push that left thigh down, lift your belly in and up. Full breath in and out here. Push out to that left leg and come up slowly. Bring the right leg up and forward. Make your way down onto your back. And just take the legs up, take the knees a little wider, push into your hands. Keep the hips on the floor, abdomen strong. Stay there. You can hold the edges of your feet and just stretch out your hips and your back a little more, happy Try to roll your hips back down, pushing the feet into the hands as you lengthen your spine.